Hello, and welcome to a special episode of the DaebakCast. This is a K-pop podcast where we usually cover current events and album reviews and stuff like that. Today we're doing a special episode in remembrance of Jonghyun from SHINee. So, yeah, in case you guys didn't know, he passed away today, and yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I guess I'll just go straight into
if you want to go through the news.
Okay,
stories.
so the original story broke at about, I don't know, maybe like it'd be 6 a.m. Eastern time for us, or like 5 or 6 a.m. Eastern time, but
oh god,
which would make it like what? That'd be like almost like the 12-hour difference.
No, it was like 6 p.m. or whatever
in Korea,
around there. Because yeah, it was like 7. It was like right when
I woke up.
Right when it was right when I was putting up the weekly or like the daily episode at work at 7. I just saw Twitter explode.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like 7 a.m. here, so which was like 6 p.m. there, I think.
Yeah, so I'm pulling up an article from Soompi, which reads, the original article says, police have confirmed that SHINee's Jonghyun, aged 27, has passed away, and are currently investigating the singer's death. According to the police and fire department, Jonghyun was found unconscious in a residence on December 18th at approximately 6:45 p.m. Korean Standard Time. Emergency responders performed CPR and the singer was immediately rushed to the hospital, but in the end, Jonghyun was unable to be revived and was pronounced dead. The police arrived at the scene at a report of a disappearance filed by Jonghyun's older sister, who reportedly received a final text message from Jonghyun that led her to believe he would be attempting suicide. In the text, he said, quote, "It has been really hard. Let me go. Tell me I did well. This is my last goodbye." At the residence, which according to a source was not Jonghyun's own home but a place he had reserved for 2 nights, police found what appeared to be burned coal, leading them to suspect the death was by suicide. However, police are still investigating the matter and have not confirmed the cause of death. And the original article was later updated that it has been confirmed by SM Entertainment that SHINee's Jonghyun has passed away. The agency said via a press release on December 18th, quote, "SHINee member Jonghyun has suddenly left our side. They confirmed that Jonghyun had been found in a residence in the neighborhood of Cheongdam and was taken to a nearby hospital, was pronounced dead." Okay. The statement went on to say that the grief of his family members is incomparable, but that his fellow SHINee members, as well as the agency's artists and staff, are shocked and in mourning. Quote, "Jonghyun was the best artist who loved music more than anyone else and always did his best for his performances," said the agency. Quote, "We are even more heartbroken to have to convey this sad news to the fans who have loved Jonghyun." End quote. The statement went on to ask everyone to refrain from speculation and stated that his funeral will be held as quietly as possible with only family, close friends, and colleagues in attendance as per the family's wishes. So, yeah, judging from this original story, it's all the telltale signs of a suicide. I know they haven't really come to a conclusion, but of the short sort of like research period we had from like the morning until we're recording this at about 8 o'clock at Eastern time the same day, suicide by way of like placing like charcoal or coals on a like the stove or like a frying pan or something is
very something you can burn them with.
Yeah, it's a very common method of committing suicide in Asia apparently. Somebody in one of the Reddit comments said that on bags of coal, there's actually a suicide hotline warning like already on the bag, that just because they know how popular or like how like likely people already use it to when resorting to suicide. So it's and with all of this information that we've been receiving, it seems more and more likely, unfortunately. Just some other like news that we received after, like of course we got the statement from SM, and it was revealed that he was in like he had already filmed the music video that was supposed to be releasing in like the coming, I don't know, months or so.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
he was supposed to have a comeback.
I really hope they continue and release it.
They should release it in his honor because it just I don't think they should hold on to it.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously wait a little bit, but like I think
the best thing is release it, donate all the proceeds to a suicide or mental health
Yeah,
like
or
charity,
something like that.
or his family,
or his family, or started foundation in his
in his honor, which would be perfect for him, because, and I know I'm obviously I'm not gonna pretend that I'm the biggest showl on the face of the universe, but what I've been seeing is that he was very outspoken about his like struggle with mental health and depression and that sort of thing.
One of the only ones.
Yeah,
talk about it, right? And I mean, because it's I mean,
it was in his music for.
I was say it comes out throughout all of his music. I mean, lots of his music talked about it. He wrote "Breathe" for Lehigh.
Yep.
To get over her panic attacks and stuff. To help her get over it.
And I guess what's I guess what's really heartbreaking is that it's taboo here in like the West, but I feel like it's even more of a taboo to like even address mental health in Korea, which is a shame considering just like how insanely high it seems that Korea's suicide rate is compared to the rest of the world. Like,
I mean, I feel like it's just Asia in general.
Yeah, Asia.
Just Japan too is just as bad.
Mm-hmm.
Their society, like, I guess they hold their people to have a very high standard, which again, it offers high success, but at the same time, like, it's so much stress that
it's just
really
you're under a
can't get
lot
to
of
somebody's
pressure.
well-being.
Yeah, and from what I understand, it's like seen as it's seen as like a weakness, or like, so you're supposed to just like get over it or whatever, which obviously is not the way. That's
not how you address it. Yeah, and I mean, like, the only really experience I have, like, or exposure I've had to this in dealing with Korea is not through like music, which I'm honestly surprised this is like this might be the most high profile death in at least modern K-pop history. I can't really think of anything, honest. Maybe not Ladies Code, but that was an accident.
The only suicide I can think of in K-pop is the girl. I don't think I know of
any.
The only one I can think of is the girl who, after Kara Project, committed suicide because she got let go from DSP because she didn't win, or got like 4th or 5th or whatever.
Yeah, and it just, I think,
out of high profile, like, celebrities, no one. Like, we'd had this discussions earlier this year with Top, but
and thank God he's still alive.
He survived.
Yeah.
But my experience with this is through esports, mostly because, like, I guess as most K-pop fans know, like, the whole concept of netizens and people that'll just bash you and like antis, it's so harsh to the point where like basically like a lot of esports athletes, they need like actual like psychologists and all these people on board, because a lot of their job involves like sitting behind a computer like 18 hours a day, and then if you don't do well in LC, like they're like in like OGN or whatever, people will like say like, oh, why are you playing, you're wasting your time, go kill yourself, that sort of thing. Like, it seems like there's such a ruthlessness when it comes to their internet culture that, like, I don't know, maybe it's just maybe we're looking at it through like a different lens, but it definitely feels much more intense than even like here in the US.
I mean, like you said right there, like, go kill yourself is just like a standard insult on the internet. And I don't think people realize they're talking to actual people, and that those people actually see these comments sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing, like, even like you said, not just antis, just for K-pop at least, like, they're expected to be on 24/7 and be this perfect person that's not possible, and then people treat them as an object instead of an actual person.
And if you think about just like the sheer amount of pressure you're under, like there's being under the spotlight, and basically there's being like a K-pop idol, you're basically under like the full power of the sun, if that analogy sort of makes any sense, because you're not allowed to date, you're supposed to be a perfect human being, you're supposed to love every one of your fans, you're supposed to never disappoint them, you're supposed to be like this perfect...
Yeah, you can't be tired, you can't take breaks, like...
Like, I think what, like, the thing that sort of irritates me in a way with, I guess, just how like ruthless in a way like the internet culture is that they try to make it an honor sort of thing. Is that like, oh, you're like disrespecting like because Asian culture is very much about like
honor,
respect, you know, just like very much like a community sort of thing. If people will try to paint it as you're letting the country down if you're not,
you're
like,
letting society down.
Yeah, which is a lot of pressure for anyone to deal with, let alone someone that's adored and idolized by like the millions of people that like follow K-pop. So it's just like, I know I don't want to speculate too much on why he did it, but I mean it definitely seems just like there's a lot of contributing factors having to do with like stress of the workload of being an idol, and it's the unfortunate and unavoidable truth that we have to deal with. And like I don't know how they fix it. I don't know how they address it, but
hopefully they can start.
I think the only way they can is like, honestly, like what I was saying earlier, just they have to make a suicide hotline if they don't already have one. They have to plaster the number literally everywhere, like so that people know it. Like they really need to step up their game and put a full on like war on suicide, I guess. And is the thing. Like, they need to bring awareness to it, because if you have the highest numbers of this in the entire world, you need to admit that.
If a member of one of the most popular, one of the most iconic K-pop groups,
one of the most beloved entertainers in your whole country,
struggles with this sort of thing, you know, I hope this is like, unfortunately, this is the sort of thing that it takes. It's a wake-up call, because you can't ignore it anymore. You can't just sweep it under the rug and hope that people will just get over it or just keep working. Because like it's that's the frustrating thing about like any society, really. Even here, it's just like it's.
Yeah, I mean, we don't treat it any better.
Yeah,
we treat
not
mental
even any close.
as something to hide away. Sure, it's easier to get help and it's a little more accepted, but it's still not fully accepted by society as something that's good to do or good to talk about.
Yeah,
and, which is crazy considering, I think, like, don't quote me on numbers here because it's been a while since I've looked them up, but like I'd say they like almost half of like at least in the US, almost half of like adults, if anywhere from like 18 to whatever, like deal with some type of depression or some type of mental health disorder. So it's just it just blows my mind that this sort of thing is still so taboo. Before we guess, I guess we go into too much of the, I guess our honoring him or just our like thoughts. I get there's still the. This is literally just like an hour ago or like a couple of hours ago.
It was his family rejecting an autopsy.
Oh, his family rejected. I did not see that.
Yeah, I saw that just before the show started. His family is. Hold on, let me pull it up on Twitter.
Oh man, I mean it makes sense.
But yeah, it was one of the last things all K-pop said before we started the podcast. His family is not having an autopsy done.
Because I think they've just come to accept the fact they don't really need like the proof. I mean,
he told his sister basically before.
I was gonna say he left a couple notes, and I mean all the evidence was there. I mean they found charcoal burning on his stove.
Here, this is the thing I'm gonna read off right now. It was the message that he sent to a member of a Korean rock group or ballad group named Dear Cloud, rather. The member 9 is somebody I believe that was sort of a close friend of Jonghyun's, that apparently somebody that was on his radio show quite often, and somebody that he was able to confide this sort of the way he was feeling to someone, like, which I guess must be so hard considering it must be so hard to like even consider like who to talk to about this as a K-pop star, because you're so everyone just thinks of you as like a perfect, like untouchable sort of person, so you think you're just so scared to ruin that image of them in your head. So I wanted to wait until the full or an accurate translation came up, and according to this comes courtesy of @SoOneXStella on Twitter. This has been identified as a very accurate translation.
Yeah, for
of his
SNSD News usually is what they do, and they're really reliable. So
okay, so you can verify this source. All right. So here's the first part of the message is just like her talking, and then it'll go into the like what.
There's another
Jonghyun's.
development from Stella as well. If you after you're done saying that.
Okay, so this is I believe this is the member 9 talking first. I said my final goodbye to Jonghyun Oni. Even after seeing his smiling portrait of the deceased, it feels like Jonghyun Oni will come to me and smile as if it was all a dream. Starting from a while back, Jonghyun Oni told me his dark and deep internal stories. I think each day was very difficult for him. I kept having uneasy thoughts, so I made it known to his family, and I tried my hardest to capture his heart. But it only ended up postponing time, and I could not block his last action. Like, that's their context. I still cannot believe he is not in this world anymore, and it's so painful. I'm still afraid, not knowing if it's the right thing to upload these words. But Jonghyun himself asked me to please upload these words if he disappeared from the world. I wish this day would never come. After discussing this with his family, I am uploading his final note according to his last wishes. I think that there must have been a reason why he left this up to me. I worry there will be controversy. However, I think that he predicted this and asked me, so I decided that I will do one last thing I can do for Jonghyun Oni. I hope everyone knows now that Jonghyun Oni was not alone, and that he worked hard, that he did really well. Please thank him for withstanding well. Beautiful Jonghyun, I really love you a lot. Going forward, I will love you a lot. In that place, please don't be in pain, and I hope you will be peaceful. This is the full text of his final note. Okay, so this is Jonghyun speaking now. Quote, I am broken from the inside. Depression that slowly ate away at me ended up swallowing me. I couldn't beat it. I hated myself. I held on to memories that have died out, and even though I shouted to snap out of it, there was no response. If suffocating breaths will not open up, it's better instead to stop. I asked who can take responsibility for myself. It's you. I was completely alone. It's easy to say you'll end it. It's hard to end it. I lived up to now amidst that difficulty. You said I wanted to run away. That's right. I wanted to run away. From myself. From you. I asked who was there. I said it was me. Again, it was me, and once again it was me. I asked why I keep losing memories. It's my personality. I see, in the end, it's all my fault. I hoped someone would notice, but no one knew. Never met me, so of course no one knew I was there. I asked why I'm living. Everyone just lives. If I asked why someone would die, you would say you were exhausted. I suffered from concern. I never learned how to change tiresome pains into joy. Pain is just pain. I urged myself to not be like that. Why? Why can't I end it according to my own will? I tried to find out why I was in pain. I know too well. I'm in pain because of myself. It's all because it's my fault and because I'm foolish. Teacher, did you want to hear these words? No, I did nothing wrong. When he blamed my personality with a quiet voice, I thought it was so easy to be a doctor. It's fascinating to see why I'm in this much pain. People who've had more hardships than I do live well. People who are weaker than me live well. Maybe that's not it. Of people who are alive, there is no one who has more hardships than I do, and who is weaker than I am. Despite this, I was told to live. I ask why this is the case 100 times, and it's never for me, it's for you. I wanted this to be for me. Please don't say things you don't know. Find out why it's difficult. I told you many times why it's difficult for me. With that, is it not possible for it to be this difficult? Does there need to be a more concrete drama? Are you wanting more of a story? I already told you. Did you not pay attention? What I can overcome doesn't leave a scar. Colliding with the world must not have been my fate. Being known to the world must not have been my fate. That's why everything was difficult. Colliding and being known, it's difficult. Why did I choose that? It's a funny incident. It's commendable that I was able to withstand up to this point. What more can I say? Just tell me I worked hard, that I did a good job, that I went through a lot. Even if you can't smile, please don't send me off in blame. You worked really hard. You really went through a lot. Goodbye. So, I think that sums it up better than anything else, really. God, it's just... I guess we could just go straight into, like, our thoughts or whatever, because, I mean, I don't know how much else we can sort of divulge upon that.
One more... Yeah, that's
Jacob's thing.
Yeah,
well,
one more thing is, Stella, she tweeted, like a minute before we started reading that, was apparently, a few days before his own concert, Jonghyun sent his will to 9, And then Nine went to Jonghyun's concert, and then he told his family, and then his family knew Jonghyun was going through a tough time and paid more attention from then on. So I guess they sort of knew what was happening, and they were trying to stop it from happening.
Yeah, get him help.
And because it seemed like in the previous article, it was premeditated. It wasn't his house. He sort of like arranged some type of hotel or something that he was going to go through with this.
And sounds like an Airbnb or whatever.
Yeah, that seems like that's definitely a sign that you're usually like there's sign like the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention has signs like where you're usually giving like goodbye letters, you're selling, like, getting rid of a lot of possessions, you're like making arrangements for to go like in the middle of nowhere just so you can sort of do this without the risk of anyone finding you and that sort of thing. So I guess with that out of the way, you guys know way more about SHINee than I do. So
one more thing, like we said with Top, if you're go talk to people if you're having similar thoughts. It's not,
even if you don't think they'll understand, just do it.
Yeah, just talk to people, get help.
You'd be surprised how many people go through this sort of thing. You'd be surprised. Like, you really are not alone. Like, that is the biggest lie that you can tell yourself if you think that you're alone in dealing with all of this, because there are millions of other people. They might not be dealing with everything the same way that you are. They might not necessarily understand, but there's just so many people going through personal struggles inside their mind, inside, their consciousness, that it's there are people that will understand you and love you either way. No one's perfect. None of us are perfect. I fuck up all the time. You guys fuck up all the time. You're not supposed to. You're not going to come off any lesser of a human being by accepting the fact that you have a problem and asking for help. If anything, it's more commendable because so many people would just rather, like, file this away and like bury it away as deep as they can and pretend it doesn't exist. But that just makes these feelings even worse. Like, you have to just be honest with yourself and accept that I need help and I need to reach out to people. So you guys know way more about SHINee than I do, so I guess you can honor him first. So Nate.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I can go first. So I mean, I don't even know how to start. This is like, because like SHINee was really the only boy group for me that I cared about since like this year, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Because I just only followed girl groups, but I don't know, something about them just I don't know, caught me. So yeah, it's just been really hard. I don't even know how to talk about it right now.
Yeah, for me, I had a similar experience where, like, when I first got into K-pop, like, the only thing I'd listen to was girl groups, just because that's what I preferred and I thought it was cool. But, like, yeah, in a similar way, SHINee was, like, the only ones that I really clicked with at first. Like, all their songs were catchy. They were, music videos were great. The choreography was awesome. They just, like, they really, really stood out great. And, like, ever since then, like, they have always been my number one guy group, like, absolutely. Like, they're like probably the only guy group that I literally will like listen to their entire albums, and like as soon as they come out, not like put it off or anything. Like, they're like, that's stuff I look forward to. Like, it's like they're in like a similar tier to like SNSD or Epic High or my tops like groups. So it's really, I don't know. It's just it's weird. It doesn't feel real, I guess. Like, I saw it and I was like, my first reaction again was literally denial. Like, I was like, there's no way this is real.
Yeah.
Like, it just, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, I guess. And like my dad heard about it this morning, I guess, somehow. Like, I guess it was on major news outlets or something.
Yeah, it's just
he was like,
surprising.
his reaction was like I mean, because I'm sure he's experienced a similar thing, being around a lot longer with music and stuff. And he's like, it always sucks when the music dies. Like, I think that's really perfect way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible to see just how many people are picking up this story. Like Philip DeFranco covered it today. The BBC had an article, as we mentioned before. Like a lot of major news outlets outside of the normal K-pop sphere are covering it. So yeah, it's incredible, right?
Yeah. So I guess that being said, we just wanted to I guess give our thoughts on it and honor him, and you know, I guess just give our 2 cents on it, basically.
Well, I guess for me,
and also reach out to people. Also, I mean, just take care of yourself, I guess. Really.
Like hearing this, it just makes me regret not being as into SHINee as I was, or as I was until until we started this. Basically, I'd only like really paid attention to like Sherlock and that sort of era, because that's when I was really into just I'm only an SM artist kind of guy or whatever. And I mean, like, but now it wasn't until Jonghyun released his solo album and I heard She Is for the first time, and I was just like, wow, somebody made future bass music, the music that I listened to on SoundCloud and all this nonsense, like in K-pop. And I remember reading this article about him, like, because we know, I'm sure a lot of other K-pop fans know just like how very little control you have over your life as an idol, and he fought so hard to have creative control over that solo album, because he.
Yeah, and if you look at all the tracks, every single one he has credit.
He has production credits on. Like he's alongside like London Noise and all these other people. Like he transcends the mantra of idol. He was an artist because he worked on his own music. Like he knew how to like produce his music. He knew how to do the music video and everything. And it's something that he was very passionate about.
Music.
Yeah, like you said with Lehigh.
Produced a ton of other music. Like we said with Lehigh, he worked with Tableau and Evikai, and he just did stuff everywhere.
Yeah, which makes him such a respected, like, well-respected artist, you know, even outside of SM, you know, they kind of have, like, all that, like, tribalism and that sort of thing, but just seeing the outpouring from all these sort of artists from every corner of the industry, like, it just breaks my heart to see that this happened, and it just, I guess the point I want to get across is this is preventable. Like,
yeah,
this
100%.
This is preventable. Like, when it comes to depression and suicide, like some people think it's like getting a cold, that you're stuck with it for a few days and then you'll get better.
Get over it.
But no, it's suicide is a disease. Like it's something that and I know, or like mental health and all this sort of like thoughts. It's a disease, and I know this all too well because I've attempted to kill myself way too many times than I like to imagine. But there's this just constant pressure that you have, you know, whether it's like in your mind or like you feel it physically, that you feel, and you just get in this endless cycle of I should be better already, you know, why am I in this, right? Why do I feel like my life is like complete shit right now, you know, why am I not trying harder, when even when I try hard, why isn't it getting better? And you're just in this endless cycle of self-depreciation and this helplessness, and it's a lot of stuff that you don't want to share to anyone because it's probably one of the most vulnerable things that you could ever like reveal to people. And I mean, I guess I'm at the point where I'm comfortable at sharing it, but there's some people that just don't want to talk about it, which just scares me because, you know, I hope that, again, I really hope that this is a wake-up call to people, because we just lost one of the most beloved idols in all of K-pop, and it's a shame, and hurts. It just hurts me on a completely different level to see. And it just goes to show that you would have all this money, you know, like all this sort of stuff that like idols get sent like millions of dollars worth of like gifts and like all this adoration and love, and like they could have any person they want literally, but all of that means nothing. That means absolutely nothing in life, because all of that's just it's gonna fade away. It doesn't mean anything in the end. And like even if all these rich and powerful people and famous people can have these problems, it just goes to show that's not really what you should be focusing on in life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely made me. It definitely makes me think a lot, or just to try better myself, because even I still deal with these problems myself.
Yeah.
And, there's some days where I just want to end it, or I don't want to talk to anyone, or I don't feel like getting out of bed, or I just say, oh, you're the worst human being, Andrew. And I don't want to feel like this all the time, because I want to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this entire YouTube channel is because I wanted to focus myself on something outside of work, so that I wouldn't just be mulling over my thoughts. And this thing has brought me so much happiness in my life that I can't even explain to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So just, you really have to fight for that happiness. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. It's just, you have to get over your head sometimes. This and this. Sometimes they mislead you. Sometimes they lead you down paths that you really can't come back from. But there's, again, it's just, we keep repeating it, but you're not alone. You have so many, suicide. I know this is really blunt and maybe harsh, but suicide might be one of the most selfish things that you can ever do, because
100%.
you're doing it under the premise that nobody cares about you, or you're doing it under the premise that there are people that care about you and you do it anyway. It's selfish in the truest sense of selfish, in that you're not taking consideration the feelings of the people who raised you, or the people who either your friends and family. And even if you don't think you have any friends and or family who are close to you, look again, because there's a lot of people that just block out the good things that they have in life, and
and focus on the negative, which
the negativity.
You can't do.
And I guess it's ultimately I feel like Jonghyun's passing it goes beyond a K-pop tragedy or a music tragedy. This is a human tragedy. My heartfelt condolences, and I don't really know if any of that is even enough to just, all of my love goes out to his family and his friends, because there are two parents that just lost a child. There's a sister that just lost a brother. There are band members that just lost a brother. There's all these people that just lost someone close to them, and I don't even begin to know how you cope with that sort of thing. So suicide isn't just something that affects one person. It affects so many people in so many different ways, because even the person that thinks the least of themselves, or thinks that they're the most worthless human being on the face of the planet, has made some type of impact on someone in their lives, and to the point that they'd miss them so much that if they were gone.
Yeah.
So that's all I wanted to say. That's all I can really get out right now.
I
think we did the issue justice, and I think people definitely feel the same way. So,
and I guess just to close it out, I mean, I've been throwing out this idea that the Grammys come up in February, and usually they have this in memoriam video that they showcase all the artists that passed away from the time of post the last year's Grammys up until this year, the current Grammys. And it's usually all these people from different genres of music and different walks of life. It's not just American artists. There's some people I've never heard of that are in there. And if it's not already, if someone hasn't already started a petition or thought of this, it'd be nice to get in contact with the Recording Academy and have Jonghyun included in this memorial video, because again, I know for the most part most people in America don't really understand or know K-pop, but it feels like someone like Jonghyun made such an impact, where he's selling out arenas and hundreds of thousands of records, and making an influence worldwide. I feel like he's worthy of that recognition. I mean, I wish he could have gotten it in life, but if it's the last thing we can do for him in death, I feel like he deserves to be on that tribute video. So I don't know how we'll go about this, but we might do a change.org thing, or we might, I don't know, just I'll try to get in contact. Like, there's an email link that they have on their website, but I want him on that video tribute because it's the least that he deserves, after all of this.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that's it. Final thoughts, guys.
Yep.
I guess, yeah, he was definitely an artist that had an impact on my life, and definitely deserves to be remembered. And yeah, I guess those are all my thoughts. And yeah, it's just difficult to talk about, I guess.
The industry will definitely be lacking without him.
When I joke about loving yourself, I don't really joke about it. Just please love yourself, and if you don't already, just learn to love yourself. It's the hardest thing. It's the hardest thing in the world because we're our own biggest critics. But just love yourself and learn how to show that love to other people, because you really don't know who might need that. Like just the tiniest sort of thing to make their day better. And it's just like, I really hope we learn from this, and I hope it never happens again.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So, may he rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Yep, rest in peace.